Welcome in Craft and Design 3.0 for my dear guys, for my dear audience. In this video, I will describe some different and much beautiful ideas of a garden decor special for front yard um and a different design of front yard. So, my dear guys, when we talk about a front yard garden decoring ideas, then different questions arise in our mind like what is a front yard basically? My dear guys, in a residential area, front yard, United States, Canada, Australia, or front garden, United Kingdom, Europe is the portion of land between the street and the front of the house. If it is covered in grass, it may be referred to as a front lawn. So the area behind the house, usually more private, is the backyard or back garden. Yard and garden share an etymology and have overlapping meaning. So, my dear guys, in North America, front yards, which normally include considerable driveway and parking space, tend to be most lawn even when large. But in Europe, they are often treated as a flower garden and may be heavily planted. So, in North American area, there may be no physical barriers making the front and side of the plot, which would be very unusual in Europe, where there are general walls, fences, or hedge on three sides of the garden. So, my dear guys, if we talk about the feature of garden decoring by a front yard. While the front yard's counterpart, the backyard is often dominated by utilitarian features like a vegetable garden in which vegetable grow and tool sheds and also clotheslines. So the front yard is often a combination, a decorative feature and a recreation area. It is more commonly landscaping for display and is a usual place for display element such as garden gnomes and plastic flaming and yard shrines such as bathtub Madonna's. So an article on a London suburb describe a model front garden in Canton. So grass is neatly mown, and there is a flowering cherry and a private hedge behind which lurks a plastered home. So depending on climate, local planning regulation or size of front yard may feature lawn or grass area, a driveway, a footpath, or both, and garden or a vegetable patch or potted plant. So, my dear guys, when we talk about garden different design, garden different style, garden decoring in front yard or backyard, then history and style, I think, are necessary to be prescribed. So, my dear guys, in Australia, the history of the Australian front yard is said to have begun with a regulation enacted in New South Wales in 1829, mandating that a new house be built at least 40 feet, 4.3 meter from the street to ensure adequate space in front of each house for garden. So by the early 1900s, the front yard had become an accepted buffer between the private home and the public street. So Australian adopted the American ideal of front yard without fences to create park-like street and suburb-wide effort were undertaken to remove fences and thereby encourage good neighborly relationship and discourage antisocial behavior and crime. So, Decivile in Sydney was the first suburb where fencing was symmetrically removed and soon public housing organization in other states followed the trend. So some even encouraged front yard beautification by running competition with the cash prize. So during the construction of Australia planned capital, Canberra in the late 1920, the Federal Capital Commission provided government subsidies to encourage new residents to regularly maintain their front yard. By the 1950s, there was a clear delineation between front and backyard. So there was also by then a very clear street view approach to garden design with the house facade and front yard considered in unison to view the whole effect from the street. So in Canada, on the development and history of Canadian front yard generally followed early American trend but diverged in the early 19th. In the 1920 and 30, zoning laws were introduced for growing cities like Ottawa and Vancouver. The regulation stipulated minimum front yard depth for new houses and ensured home builders shunned the tenement house evil of New York City and London. So, in many parts of Canada, lower average temperature and a more pronounced want for privacy led to increased popularity of all of tall trees at the side borders of housing block framing the house and front yard. So these provided wide break in winter and shade in the summer. So lawn ornaments were less common in pre and post-war Canada than in the United States, and a lot well kept track of featureless lawn was popular with many middle-class Canadians. So in the post-war era, suburban Canada gained its own distinctive architectural style and this extend to front yard and garden. So rather than the stark white facades of stately American houses, wealthy Canadians of the 16th and 17th showed a preference for wood, in particular diagonal cedar paneling, to match that trend. Front yard of such houses were often paved to match the entrances of modern city buildings. No elite home of the 1970s was complete without a front yard of interlocking brick. So, as in other culture, Canadian front yard became areas of socialization between the public street and the private home, a space of street parties, families, barbecues, and neighborly conversion. So, in other different countries, our front yard are most important and most beneficial, like as in British English United Kingdom, the space in question is referred to as a front garden. Urban housing in the United Kingdom originally had no separation between the house front and the street. So the introduction of Boila terraced house, a type of dwelling built to comply with the Public Health Act 1875, raised the standard of accommodation. So, my dear guys, I think that my these front yard ID garden decoring ideas inspired you much, and you like it and share it with your affectionate love. So thank you very much, guys. Once again, thank you very much for watching my video.